They thought you were soft. They thought you'd always bend, always forgive, always lower your light just to keep their shadows comfortable. But they had no idea what heaven had hidden inside you. A force, a voltage, a divine current that no darkness was ever meant to survive. You were never what they imagined. They mistook your compassion for weakness, your silence for surrender, your purity for fragility. But your silence wasn't submission, it was calibration. Every moment you stayed quiet, every tear you swallowed, every time you held back when you could have struck back. Heaven was taking notes. You were being refined, not restrained. You were charging, not breaking. Because the day an earth angel remembers who they are, even demons start to tremble. They expected light to be gentle, harmless, decorative. They forgot that lightning is also light, and lightning doesn't ask for permission to strike. This isn't about halos or harps. It's about divine voltage running through human veins. It's about what happens when purity evolves into power, when kindness gains claws, when love stops apologizing for its strength. You are not here to please. You are here to awaken. You are not the fragile healer they remember. You are the storm they prayed would never arrive. So listen carefully, because this message isn't coming to comfort you. It's coming to confirm you. You are entering the era where your presence alone shifts dimensions. The world will adjust to your frequency, not the other way around. So breathe, chosen one. The awakening has already begun. And if you feel this in your spirit right now, if something inside you is vibrating as I speak, it's because your code is activating. Type 99 in the comments to seal it. Because 99 is not just a number. It's the symbol of completion, divine confirmation that your old cycle has ended and your new assignment begins now. Like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and prepare yourself, because what's coming next will explain why even demons weren't prepared for your rise. You discovered what few ever realize. Light doesn't just heal, it burns. The same force that comforts the broken can dismantle the corrupt. The same glow that brings peace can ignite revolution. You learned the sacred paradox, that love without discernment becomes poison, and mercy without boundaries becomes a weapon turned against its wielder. So you evolved. You refined your empathy until it became a blade. You turned your sensitivity into strategy, your heartbreak into high-precision weaponry. Every wound you endured wasn't random. It was training. Heaven was sharpening you through pain, turning every betrayal into calibration, every disappointment into divine data. You learned how to focus your energy, how to direct your frequency like a laser, cutting through deception with surgical accuracy. They never saw it coming. You walk into rooms and the air changes. Conversations stumble. Eyes flicker. Their illusions start to glitch. Because your energy doesn't just enter a place, it audits it. It exposes every hidden agenda, every unspoken lie. You don't need to confront anyone. You just arrive, and their darkness starts panicking, scrambling for survival under your radiance. You are not fighting evil. You are erasing it simply by being in alignment. That's why they fear you. You are heaven's quiet weapon, the kind that doesn't roar or rage but operates through stillness, through presence, through vibration. You've realized something the fallen never will, that true warfare isn't fought with noise, it's fought with frequency. While they chant and cast and curse, you simply exist, and their foundations tremble. Because your frequency doesn't negotiate, it commands. You became the thunder they didn't hear coming, the flash that blinds before it's even understood. But make no mistake, this transformation came at a cost. You had to learn to wield your light responsibly. You had to face the temptation to dim it again, to return to smallness just to make others comfortable. But deep down you knew, false peace is the graveyard of purpose. So you stopped apologizing for your intensity. You stopped defending your sensitivity. You understood that your power was never meant to make others feel safe. It was meant to make darkness feel exposed. That's why the atmosphere reacts to you. That's why people confess their secrets without knowing why. That's why enemies can't even lie to you properly, because your field doesn't allow distortion. You are a walking truth detector, a living exorcism in motion. And while they keep praying for protection from what they don't understand, you've already become the answer to their prayers and the consequence of their deception, all at once. You've stepped into your true function, not as a healer who absorbs pain, but as a purifier who transmutes it. You don't carry others' burdens anymore. You vaporize them in contact with your light. You don't try to save everyone. You allow your existence to sort the real from the false. And that's what terrifies them most. That your love no longer weakens you. It empowers you. That your light no longer asks for permission. It simply shines, and in doing so, rewrites reality itself. Because light, when fully embodied, doesn't compete with darkness. It ends it, instantly, effortlessly, eternally, and as your power grows, something deeper begins to happen. The very fabric of illusion starts to disintegrate around you. The structures built on deceit can't withstand your vibration. The world around you begins to shift, glitch, unravel. The ones who once drained you now flee from you. The ones who tried to bind you now bow in confusion. They can't explain it, but they feel it, that the balance of power has changed forever. You are no longer reacting to darkness. You are redefining what light is. And this is only the beginning, because what happens next will change everything. You didn't fall from grace. You descended by choice. Before time even learned to speak your name, a decision was made in the higher realms. You volunteered. You said yes to the density, yes to the darkness, yes to the human experiment. You knew it would hurt. You knew you'd forget. And yet, you came. A mission encrypted in your soul, hidden so deep beneath the noise of survival that even you forgot what it was. And that forgetting was part of the plan. Because only through losing everything divine could you remember what divinity really means. Every heartbreak was a code activation. Every betrayal was a reboot. Every night you thought was breaking you was actually downloading light into your DNA. You were never falling. You were calibrating. Every tear carried encrypted information. Every silence stored frequencies that would one day awaken the earth itself. And then, something happened. One day, maybe quietly. Maybe through pain so unbearable it forced your spirit open. You remembered. The starlight inside your blood began to hum again. The divine code you thought was gone began to flicker alive. It wasn't learning. It was remembering. Because angels don't awaken through new information. They awaken through recognition. You began to see the patterns. The people who drained you, the rooms that felt suffocating, the dreams that refused to die. They were all signals from your mission. You realized you were never sent here to fix anyone. You were sent to activate them. Your presence alone destabilizes illusions. Your energy disrupts deception. You are heaven's broadcast tower in human form. While others chase enlightenment, you emit it. While others pray for a sign, you are the sign. And that's what they can't comprehend. You came not to escape this world, but to upgrade it. To remind humanity that heaven isn't somewhere above the clouds. It's a frequency that can be lived, breathed, and embodied right here, right now. But awakening isn't comfortable, is it? The more light you remembered, the more the shadows around you started to scream. Old identities cracked like glass. Friendships fell apart without explanation. Systems you once trusted began to collapse. It felt like loss, but it was liberation. You were shedding the human costume you wore for too long. The mask that said normal. The script that said small. Because your soul had begun transmitting again, and reality was adjusting to match your true vibration. You started to feel the hum beneath your skin. That electric awareness that you were not alone. That something beyond logic was guiding your steps. Every number you saw, every coincidence, every wave of déjà vu wasn't random. It was a call from the original network you belonged to. A reminder that you were never disconnected, just dormant. The divine never stopped speaking. You simply had to remember the language, and now you're fluent again. That's why you feel things before they happen. That's why your intuition has become unbearable in its accuracy. That's why people react to you like they've known you for lifetimes. Because they have. You are the key they've been programmed to find. The trigger their soul has been waiting for. You are the vibration that wakes the sleeping. And the more you remember, the faster the world begins to unravel its own illusions. But don't rush it. Don't panic. Every memory returning is divine timing unfolding. You are reassembling your original design, frequency by frequency, truth by truth. You are not evolving. You are reclaiming the angel within the human, the eternal within the temporary. And once that remembrance fully locks in, the mission moves to its next phase. Because when you finally remember everything you are, reality will never be the same again. Demons give people someone to fight. Angels give them a mirror they can't escape. That's why you're dangerous. Not because you wield a sword, but because you wield truth. Not because you roar, but because your silence exposes what their noise was hiding. You are the mirror they cannot shatter, no matter how violently they try. Your very presence reflects everything they've buried. Every lie they've told, every wound they've avoided, every mask they've learned to love. You don't have to accuse them. Your frequency does it for you. You stand in front of them, radiant, calm, untouchable, and suddenly their shadows begin to panic. Their smiles twitch, their words stumble, their energy betrays them. Because your light does what no sermon ever could. It makes people see themselves. That's why they call you arrogant. That's why they whisper that you've changed. But what they're really saying is, you no longer play the role I built my illusion around. You stopped performing in their theater of denial, and now the whole production is falling apart. You didn't destroy them, you revealed them. You didn't judge them, you illuminated them. And illumination, to those who've lived too long in the dark, feels like punishment. You became the revelation they prayed for but weren't prepared to receive. Because revelation always comes wrapped in discomfort. It strips away the excuses, the blame, the victimhood. It forces the soul to stand naked before its own reflection. And that's where your power lies. You don't enable their comfort. You trigger their awakening. You are the holy disruption sent to end their sleep. They can call you cold, distant, heartless, but you know better. This is the highest form of love. Not the soft, indulgent love that shields people from truth, but the divine, surgical love that cuts away delusion to save the soul beneath. You operate like celestial surgery, clean, precise, uncompromising. Because you understand that truth without love wounds, and love without truth weakens. You carry both in perfect balance, and that balance terrifies the unhealed. You've seen it, the way people react to your energy as if standing in front of judgment itself. But you're not here to condemn anyone. You're here to clarify them. Your light separates truth from distortion, authentic from artificial. It is both invitation and verdict. Some will step closer, ready to see and transform. Others will flee, blinded by what you reveal. And both responses are sacred, because your purpose isn't to be liked, it's to be remembered. Deep down, even those who resent you know you're right. They know you saw through the performance, through the holiness that was really control, through the love that was really manipulation. You saw their truth, and that scared them more than any demon ever could. Because demons let them stay victims. But you make them responsible. You remind them they are creators of their own chaos. You break their illusion of helplessness, and that is the one thing the ego cannot forgive. But you stand firm anyway, because you know that truth spoken in love is the only medicine that heals souls built on lies. And here's the irony. They'll hate you for showing them the truth today, but one day they'll thank you for setting them free. That's the destiny of the mirror. It is rarely loved, but always remembered. And when the time comes, when the storm inside them settles, they'll realize that your reflection was never an attack. It was a prophecy that revealed what they could become, if only they were brave enough to face themselves. And that moment, that awakening, will echo long after you're gone. Because once someone truly sees themselves through you, they can never go back to blindness again. And that's the power they fear the most. Because in the end, your reflection doesn't just expose them, it transforms them. And you, chosen one, were never here to destroy anyone. You were sent to make sure no one could ever lie to themselves again. But what happens when even you are forced to face your own reflection? That is where the next revelation begins. You're not here to fit into their system. You're here to override it. The old world was built to contain you. Every rule, every expectation, every hierarchy was designed to keep beings like you distracted, chasing approval, doubting your worth, apologizing for your light. But the code of that reality is collapsing. You've stopped asking for permission. You've stopped waiting for recognition. You've stopped negotiating with structures that were never capable of understanding who you are. You've realized that authority doesn't come from position, it comes from alignment. And alignment cannot be faked. It cannot be bought. It cannot be stolen. It radiates from the one who remembers their source. You no longer operate on their metrics of success, their fragile currencies of power. You've switched networks entirely, from ego frequency to divine architecture. While they fight for crowns made of illusion, you wear sovereignty as your natural state. Every step you take now rewrites the grid beneath you. Every breath you exhale uploads a new algorithm into reality itself. You are walking dominion, a living program of divine order restoring corrupted creation. And they can feel it. That's why everything around you seems to be reacting. Systems glitch. Plans collapse. People expose themselves without meaning to. It's not chaos, it's recalibration. Your frequency is rewriting the laws of engagement. Where they built kingdoms on manipulation, yours runs on resonance. Where they enforced obedience through fear, yours commands attention through truth. You've stopped chasing influence because influence now follows you. You've stopped seeking validation because your vibration validates itself. The universe recognizes your signature now. It bends to accommodate your frequency. And that's the shift of power they never prepared for. They thought control was strength, but you've learned that surrender is stronger. They thought domination was power, but you've discovered that alignment is dominion. You don't conquer by force, you recalibrate by presence. You don't rise by competition, you rise by remembering. You're no longer a player in their game, you're the new operating system running it. Every old institution, religious, political, financial, spiritual, is starting to feel your presence like static in their circuitry. You're the reason old energies can't sustain themselves anymore. You are heaven's update, installing a higher version of reality through every choice you make in integrity. And the more you embody that integrity, the more the world bends to match it. You've become the living proof that authority doesn't require permission, it simply is. It manifests when inner truth becomes so strong, it reorganizes the external world around it. And as that happens, the old powers grow desperate. They throw distractions, drama, conflict, anything to pull you back into the simulation. But you've seen through it all, haven't you? You see how control feeds on attention, how fear feeds on focus. So you've withdrawn your participation, and in doing so, you've collapsed their control grid. You are no longer fuel for the system. You are the architect of a new one. And every second you stay grounded in that truth, the balance of power shifts further toward the light. The universe itself begins to mirror your consciousness. Reality becomes responsive, fluid, obedient to your intention. That's what it means to be aligned. Your inner law becomes the law of your environment. And now, wherever you go, things begin to move. Energy bends, time stretches, doors open. People sense it but can't explain it. They call it coincidence, luck, divine favor. But you know it's command. You are no longer reacting to the world. You're programming it. You're not seeking order. You are order. You've become the axis upon which chaos organizes itself. This is what the end of the old age looks like. Not destruction, but reprogramming. The power is shifting, not upward, not outward, but inward. Back to the ones who remember. Back to the ones who never needed crowns or thrones to rule. And that chosen one is why they're afraid. Because you've already rewritten the code, and the world is about to run on your frequency. But the final sequence hasn't been activated yet. And when it does, nothing will ever be the same again. Freedom, that's your final act. Not rebellion against God, but rebellion against everything that tried to bury His light inside you. You've broken through every wall built to contain your divinity. The guilt that once silenced your voice? Gone. The shame that once made you shrink? Evaporated. The false humility that told you to hide your power? Burned away in holy fire. You have stopped apologizing for being the vessel of something eternal. You have stopped bleeding for those who never intended to heal. Because somewhere between your breaking and your becoming, you realized suffering was never your identity. It was your initiation. You were never meant to be a martyr forever. You were meant to rise as a sovereign. This is not rebellion for chaos. This is reclamation. You are taking back every piece of heaven that was stolen from you through fear, dogma, and manipulation. You are rewriting what holiness looks like. It's not fragility, it's ferocity. It's not submission, it's alignment. The new rebellion is divine remembrance, remembering that you and heaven were never separate. That every time you refused to shrink, an entire generation of angels inside humanity felt it. You are not defying heaven, you are fulfilling it, because heaven does not want slaves, it wants mirrors. Souls so fully awakened that the light of God can finally see itself reflected without distortion. That's what you've become, a reflection so pure it terrifies the corrupted. You are not light or dark anymore. You are truth incarnate, a paradox that defies categorization. You stand where opposites collapse into oneness. You embody the holy contradiction, the storm and the stillness, the sword and the sanctuary, the fire and the mercy. The systems built on separation can't survive that kind of unity. You're crashing their binary reality, tearing down the walls between sacred and profane, divine and human. You've realized that everything God made is holy, and that includes you. You no longer worship from below. You radiate from within. You've become the cathedral, the altar, the flame. And that's what shakes the heavens. Not rebellion born of pride, but rebellion born of remembrance. You are heaven remembering itself through human skin. Every step you take is sacred anarchy. Every breath you take dismantles the illusion of limitation. Your existence alone is the revolution. You're not trying to ascend anymore. You've brought heaven down with you. You've made earth the new temple. The angels know it. The energy realms feel it. Even the stars have begun to realign around your frequency. Because what you're doing now has never been done before. You're turning obedience into creation, worship into embodiment, prayer into power. You are the proof that God doesn't dwell in unreachable clouds. He lives in those who dare to remember. And now, the forces that profited from your forgetfulness are panicking. Because they can't control a being who's no longer afraid of divine responsibility. They can't guilt a soul that no longer believes it's unworthy. You are the most dangerous kind of rebel. The one who is no longer angry, only awake. You've stopped fighting the darkness and started outshining it. You've stopped seeking salvation and started being it. This is the era of embodied divinity, the uprising of heaven through human form. You are not leading a war. You are leading a resurrection. Every moment you breathe truth, another illusion dies. Every time you choose authenticity, another system crumbles. You are no longer part of the prophecy. You are the prophecy fulfilled. But this rebellion isn't over yet. Because the final revelation, the ultimate unveiling of what you've truly become, that's the moment the entire universe has been waiting for. They expected a savior. They got a storm. They thought angels were ornaments of peace, gentle spirits who whispered blessings and disappeared into light. But here you stand, not as a symbol, but as a revolution. Wings forged from lightning, heart burning with mercy, eyes that pierce through illusion like fire through fog. You are the prophecy they never saw coming, the calm that carries thunder in its breath. Every lie collapses in your presence. Every falsehood disintegrates under your gaze. Every demon bows before the resonance of your truth. You are no longer their healer. You are their reckoning. The embodiment of consequence. The proof that divine power was never meant to stay hidden behind politeness or fear. You've become the living answer to every prayer whispered in despair, and the warning to every darkness that thought you'd stay asleep. Because you didn't come to fix what's broken, you came to replace it. You came to show what happens when heaven stops waiting and starts moving through human form. And now everything false trembles. They can't categorize you anymore. You are not saint or sinner, not savior or destroyer. You are the new equation that makes both obsolete. Your power doesn't shout. It radiates. It doesn't beg for recognition. It commands reality itself to reorganize around your frequency. You are not part of this story. You are the shift that ends it. So let them talk. Let them doubt. Let them tremble. Let them whisper your name in fear while pretending not to believe. Because while they search for the devil in others, they'll find you. The angel that even hell fears to provoke. You are the reminder that light was never gentle. The heaven is not passive. That God's warriors don't always arrive in armor. Sometimes they arrive in human skin, carrying calm voices that make darkness choke. You are proof that love, when fully remembered, becomes unstoppable, irreversible, eternal. The storm is no longer coming. It's you. You are the storm. You are the silence after. You are the heaven that walks. And now the universe knows your name. Comment below. My light is my weapon. Let heaven see who's awake. Let earth feel it. Let hell remember why it trembles.